Hi, it's Nørgaard. So welcome to my channel if you're new here, or welcome back if you are a returning subscriber. So today I'm doing a review and wear test of this new W7 concealer. This one is called the It's a Matte Made in Heaven, and it's called a Heavenly Matte Concealer. So I have this in the color Fair Neutral 2. It comes in 10 shades, so that is a pretty decent shade range for like a drugstore / affordable concealer. And it retails for £3.50 on W7's website. So in this video I'm going to apply this concealer, see how it applies for the first time, and I'm going to wear it throughout the day and tell you what I think about it, and of course show you what it looks like at the end of the day. So if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and you can also click the bell to get post notifications. And if you share this video on social media, it helps out my channel a lot, so thank you if you do that. And yeah, now without further ado, let's just get right into the review. Okay, so I already have my primer and foundation on. I'm testing a new foundation today as well. I'm testing this Technique Pro Finish Matte Fix Long Wear Foundation, and I just have on this Garnier Perfect Blur Primer underneath it. And as you can see, the foundation is a bit too dark for me, so using a bit of a lighter concealer is definitely going to help out with this problem. And here we have today's concealer. It is by W7 and it's called It's a Matte Made in Heaven. This, of course, just by the packaging, reminds me of the Tarte Shape Tape. Here I have them like next to each other. You can see they are about the same size and the same kind of packaging. And by now I have so many concealers that are like Shape Tape dupes. But anyway, this is the one we're going to focus on today. So the claims for this concealer is, of course, that it's matte, and it's also supposed to be full coverage, lightweight, and long wearing, and give you like a soft focus finish. So a lot of claims, and I have it in the color Fair Neutral 2, which is like the lightest color with a neutral undertone. I believe the lightest of the colors had more of a pink undertone, so I went with this one. It looks like a really good color. So here we go. I suspect that it's going to have like a really large doe foot applicator. Oh, and it does. So it looks like this. If you're familiar with any of the Shape Tape dupes, or of course with Shape Tape itself, it looks very much the same, and it doesn't really have a scent, so that's nice. So I'm just going to do the regular highlighting routine that I do, and then when I blend it out we will see how the coverage is. But so far it looks super full coverage. You can just see how much the product is able to spread and still be very visible. So that is my first application. I haven't gone back for more, but I will do that now. So I will do a little forehead action, and a little down the nose, and a little right here, and a little right here. And I'm just going to brighten up right around the edges of my lips as well. And I think that's going to be fine. So let's go ahead and blend it out, see how it blends out. So far so good. As you can see, it's spreading like crazy because it has so much coverage, and it blends in beautifully. It's not going like patchy or cakey, and it's not disturbing my foundation at all underneath the concealer. Sometimes on my chin, my concealer can lift away my foundation. I don't know why it happens. It only happens to me on my chin. There must be something with the texture on my chin, but sometimes that will happen. But this one is not doing that, so that's very nice to see. And even though it is a matte concealer, it's not setting like super quickly to the point where you can't blend it out properly. So I'm really loving it so far. And the claim about it being full coverage, I think that is true. You see how much coverage I'm getting underneath my eye. I actually feel like I applied too much. Oops. I find it to look just a tiny bit dry underneath my eye. It's looking just a little bit dry and cakey. I have some foundations, concealers that do that, and I don't like that at all, because my under eye is like the main place I want my concealer to be and to work flawlessly. So if it doesn't look good on the under eye, then that's not good. Sometimes the fix for this is to apply just a dot more of concealer. That has worked for me in the past with my other concealers that look a little bit dry and cakey. You wouldn't think that would work, but it has worked, so I'm going to try it today. But I feel like this concealer might also benefit from like a hydrating under eye primer. I do have quite dry under eyes, so if dryness is to show up anywhere on my face, it would be on my under eye area. Okay, so I feel like that didn't make it worse, but it didn't really make it better either. I do have a slight bit more coverage now, but I still can see a bit of the dry texture. So I'm wondering what I should do. I don't know if you guys will be able to tell on camera, but right underneath here you can see just the dryness. It just looks a little dry, a little cakey. It's not too bad, definitely not from afar. So I think I'll go ahead and set my concealer now. I'm going to use my trusty Soft Focus Powder by Technique. And this concealer does crease. It's not super crease resistant. Again, I will come in close and I hope you guys can see that it's creasing pretty badly underneath my eyes. And I don't really find this to be a problem. Most concealers crease on me when I don't set them. Tarte Shape Tape almost doesn't crease. It creases a little bit if I don't set it. But almost every concealer that I own, it creases if I don't set it. So I'm going to go ahead and blend out the creases one final time and then just set it in place with the powder and this sponge. So I'm going to bake. So I just look up and apply a nice big amount of powder. And I'm likewise going to bake all the other concealed places. Okay, so here we have the concealer all set. I feel like it looks pretty good. Luckily the powder did not worsen the dryness underneath the eyes, but it also didn't make it better. I mean, that's almost kind of a given. But I don't know, I hope you guys can see that it is a little dry underneath my eyes, especially on this under eye. It's just a little bit, so I don't know if it will show up that well on camera. But if I go like super close in my mirror, I can see it. So I think if you have dry under eyes like me, you can still use this concealer, but maybe use a hydrating under eye primer or just a hydrating primer in general. Yeah, now I'm going to apply the rest of my makeup and I will be back once that is all applied and we can do the wear test. So I have all of my makeup on now. The concealer still looks the same. It hasn't gotten worse underneath the eyes or anything. And it is 3:30 right now. So I will wear this throughout the rest of the day and I will check in at the end of the night to see how the concealer is looking. I'll check in to see if it's creased or if, you know, it looks super dry and cakey. But yeah, so far I've worn it for probably like an hour and a half. I think I put it on around 2 o'clock and it still looks exactly the same. So I'm very pleased so far. But yeah, I'll check back in later. So see you then. Okay, so it's about 8 o'clock now and I applied my concealer around 3 o'clock or something like that, maybe a little bit before. But let's just say 3 o'clock. So my makeup has been on for 5 hours and this is what it's looking like. I think the concealer still looks pretty good. I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but I did get like a tiny bit of like smudging underneath this eye. And this is my bad eye. I almost never have problems with this eye, but I always have problems with this eye. So I did get a little smudging over here, but I'm not gonna blame the concealer for that because I think it's just the way this eye is set up. And it doesn't look any more cakey or dry underneath my eyes than what it did at the start of the day. So I'm very pleased with that. The concealer in my T-zone is starting to break down because of my oils, but that's normal. I have very oily skin, so my T-zone, it gets glowy, so to speak, quickly, but it doesn't look half bad. I did go out and wear my mask and it didn't rub off at the nose, so that's really nice to see. So I think the staying power is actually pretty good with this concealer. It's not looking perfect, but it's looking decent for me. This is a very decent concealer on my skin. But I will go a few more hours and I will check back with you at the very end of the night to see how it's looking. Okay, so I'm back for my final update. It is about 9:30 now. So my concealer has been on for like 6-7 hours now. And as you can see, my T-zone is very oily. And I'm not necessarily going to fault the concealer for that, because my T-zone just gets super oily. I need to be wearing a mattifying primer for it to not get shiny. And even doing that, it still gets shiny after a while. So if we just focus on the under eyes, it looks okay still. I like how it doesn't look super dry and cakey. It hasn't gotten any like more cakey looking than what it did at the beginning. So that's nice to see, because sometimes my under eyes can just look like Sahara Desert at the end of the day if I have on like a matte concealer. So I will say I really like that. I have had some smudging over here that I'm not too pleased with. If I'm wearing like Tarte Shape Tape, I normally don't get smudging, but this eye is quite prone to smudging. So if I'm wearing pretty much any other concealer, I can get some smudging underneath this eye. So I don't think that's necessarily terrible. It still looks very nice underneath here. And I'm hoping if I come in a little closer, you might be able to see what it's looking like underneath here and here. But yeah, I think it looks pretty good. I feel like I do have a little bit of like discoloration peeking through at my under eye area, but it's not terrible at all. I would definitely wear this again, try it out some more, because I also like how it's looking down my nose. A lot of the time my makeup will start disappearing from my nose, kind of like it's how it's doing on my chin, but it hasn't done that on the bridge of my nose, so that is a very good sign to me. With a bad concealer it would start separating on my nose, so I think this one is definitely a decent concealer. I would definitely use it again. I like the way it blended out, I like the coverage, I like the shade, and I like the fact that it's not emphasizing like the under eye lines or anything like that. I like how it's not getting drier and drier looking. So yeah, my final verdict is that I do like this concealer. It's not the greatest concealer of all time, but it is good. And for the price, I would definitely recommend it. It's definitely one I'm going to keep in my makeup rotation. So that is all. Let me know what you thought of this video down below. Let me know if you have tried this product. I would love to know your experience. And don't forget to thumbs up the video if you did enjoy it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And you can also click the bell to get post notifications. And that is all. So I will see you in my next video. So thank you guys so much for watching. Take care and bye bye.